So Deadpool and Wolverine has been out for a couple of weeks now. I have reviewed every film in the Deadpool trilogy, so that means today we rank them. How's it going, guys? Hope you all are doing well today. Now, before I get started, I just wanted to let you know that this is just my personal ranking of the Deadpool films. I am fully expecting your ranking to be different than mine. This is just how I enjoy these films, so I'd be very interested to know how you rank these films, so be sure to post your ranking of the Deadpool films down in the comments below. I'll definitely check those out. So even though Deadpool and Wolverine has been out for a couple of weeks now, I'm sure there's still some of you that have not seen it. So with that said, I just wanted to let you know that if you have not seen Deadpool and Wolverine or any of the other Deadpool movies by chance, I will let you know there will be spoilers in this ranking. So if you do not want spoilers at all, then exit now, go watch the films, then come back and check out this ranking. Okay, I'm good now. Let's get started. So coming in last place for me is Deadpool 2. Now, I am by no means saying that this is a bad film at all, but compared to the other two, it's not as impressive. I will say that I do think all of the action and fight choreography was an improvement over the first Deadpool film. Now, even though it's a comedy, action, comic book film, it can get pretty heart-wrenching from time to time, especially when Vanessa is killed near the beginning, for example. The humor is great. Though, like I've said before, some jokes are a little drawn out, like near the end when Deadpool is dying, and you think it might just happen, but then, nope, still going. Again, it was funny, but eventually it got me to the point where I was like, okay, let's move it along. The X-Force skydiving scene was gold. I was totally not expecting that when I first saw it in theaters. It was so funny, I didn't even care that they spent a few minutes setting up the X-Force team for basically nothing. Sure, you could see it as filler, but it all still paid off. The biggest thing for me, though, was the story. I just, again, was not impressed with it. It wasn't horrible, it was just very Terminator-inspired, and it just felt a little convoluted, especially with all the subplots, like Vanessa is killed and Deadpool wants to die. Deadpool joins the X-Men. Russell recruits Juggernaut. Russell wants to kill the headmaster at an orphanage. Cable wants to kill Russell. Dopinder wants to be an assassin. Cable wants to save his family and timeline. Deadpool forms X-Force, and so on. For the most part, it flowed pretty well, but sadly, it keeps it in last place for me. Let's move on to second place. So coming in second place is the first Deadpool film. Now, being completely honest, I actually struggled with if I wanted to place this in second place, because, well, I honestly think it's a great movie. The story, while pretty straightforward, is done very well, and the pacing is good. I will say that I do think the action and fight scenes are probably the weakest of the three films, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially when you learn that there wasn't a huge budget and they played that off as a running gag, like in the film when Deadpool keeps forgetting his bag of guns and ammo and just has to work with what he has. Now, with what we saw in X-Men Origins Wolverine, a Deadpool film really needed to deliver to redeem that, and this film definitely delivered, with all of the action and non-mouth sewed shut humor. I tried to find negatives for Deadpool, but while I'm sure there are, I couldn't see a lot of them myself because, again, it's a great movie. The acting was good, the jokes really landed, the soundtrack was great, the story was fun and exciting, but even though Deadpool is a great film, when it comes to the overall entertainment factor, it just can't compete with number one on this list. First place for me, of course, goes to Deadpool and Wolverine. It was so great to get to see Hugh Jackman returning to play Wolverine after a few years have passed since the film Logan. Both Jackman and Reynolds had great chemistry and worked really well together, and it was great to see all of the cameos. I thought that they were all done very well, whether it be certain characters returning like Elektra, Blade, Johnny Storm and such, or certain actors getting to play the role that they've been rumored to play for a while at one point but just didn't work out. You know I am of course referring to Gambit, played by Channing Tatum. The story itself I thought was pretty good. I thought it was impressive on how they connected this film with both the last Deadpool movie and the shows that take place within the MCU timeline. Now on that note, there were some things that I noticed that in my review I said that I would mention in this video. Now, I've heard it mentioned a few times that this film would save or restore the MCU, and in a way it does, but it doesn't directly take place within the MCU or the sacred timeline as I've heard it referred to as. Sure, it takes place within stories that are connected to the MCU, especially if you've seen Loki, and of course there's that scene with Happy Hogan near the beginning, but this is very much a multiverse type of story. But I'm not going to go out of my way to call that a negative, even though it wasn't what I was expecting or hoping, which is of course Deadpool, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and all of the others to officially join the MCU sacred timeline, but it didn't ruin the film for me in any way, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more opportunity for that in later films. I will say though, I wasn't really impressed with the writing near the end of the film, mostly with how Wolverine and Deadpool attempt to save all of the other timelines. They both most likely should have died, and they explain it as them joining together, linking to the Time Ripper, combining their healing factors, and that saves them from perishing, where it would have killed one of them if it was just a solo sacrifice. I just wasn't a fan of that, and I thought it was a little bit of lazy writing. I know they did that in Guardians of the Galaxy, but I'm not really 100% a fan of that as well. Sure, it was eventually explained better how they all survived being able to hold one of the Infinity Stones, but I just didn't really think it worked really well for this film. But regardless, this film is great and a lot of fun. It definitely delivers what you want out of it with awesome cameos, epic action and fight scenes, whether it be between Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool Wolverine versus Nova and her followers, or Deadpool and Wolverine versus all of the Deadpool variants. It just gets better and better as the film goes on. The jokes in this movie are probably the best in the Deadpool trilogy, and even the opening scene with Deadpool dancing to the NSYNC song Bye 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 while killing all the TVA agents with Logan's skeleton was just a great way to start things off. So with that, of course, Deadpool and Wolverine comes in first place. So there you have it, guys. That is my ranking of the Deadpool films. Again, I'd be very interested to know how you guys rank these films, so be sure to post those rankings down in the comments below, and I'll definitely check those out. But guys, thanks so much for checking out this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to hit that like button, and if you're enjoying my content and you're new to my channel, then please consider to hit that subscribe button so that way you'll be notified when more of my videos are posted. Guys, thanks so much again. I'll see you next time.